Shaun King is back with us here from Yahoo, NFL analyst, good friend of the show. Big opinions. What's happening, Shaun? How are you?
Just enjoying the last couple days before the storm, comes full circle.
Yeah,
Been missing football, though, so I'm kind of excited.
Yeah, the grind is about to begin. And we put quotes around the word grind because we love it, but it is from now until the first week of February, it's on. So, the obvious story here is Geno Smith. Listen, you've been in locker rooms, you've been on good teams, you've been on bad teams, you've been around the league, you know the deal. What's your initial reaction? Let's just start with that. Your initial reaction when you heard what happened to Geno Smith the other day.
My initial reaction was I was disappointed in the New York Jets offensive players. Before I knew the what's and whys, I've never heard of a quarterback getting beat up by a defensive guy, nobody on the offense helping.
Yeah.
Coming to his assistance.
That's what I said. Yeah.
Even though we're a team, like it's two families on the same team. Like offense is one family, defense is another. Like I was really disappointed in their personnel. As I've gotten more of the details, I'm disappointed that the situation occurred at all.
Now, where do you?
For your listeners that may not know, guys miss charity events all the time.
Oh, that's why I don't. That's why when I was doing charity event, I never invited the players. If someone happened to be in town, I'd say you can come, but I would never specifically and then promote a player because schedules change too much.
If you invite 10 guys, 2 or 3 of them are going to show up.
Yep.
That's just the price of doing business. So I feel like it's very immature and naive on IK's part to ask for reimbursement for a flight, knowing that that's just a part of doing a charity event. Then I think it's immature on Geno's part, not addressing it before it got to that point.
Very good.
This is his big opportunity. They finally have NFL players on offense, for him to play with. This was his chance to really go and show that he has the potential to be the quarterback for the Jets. So it's just a sad situation all around, in my opinion.
Now, what type of hit do you think this does for the Jets' season prospects? I think some people were starting to believe with what they've done on the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, Revis is back, and they've had one of the top front sevens in football for the last few years. Offensively, they got some weapons there. What does this do for their prospects going forward?
Well, to me, it completely diminishes any chance they had of having like this wonderful dream season. I know people have come to the conclusion that Geno can't play, but you can make a reasonable argument that during stretches he's performing at a high level. Now he's going to get the chance to play with Brandon Marshall, which made Eric Decker better. Those two tight ends, Cumberland and Merrill. Now you're looking at an offense, if he progressed and had the chance to have some success. I think we know who and what Ryan Fitzpatrick is. And I just don't think he's good enough to lead the Jets to the playoffs.
He's a guy.
And that's not a knock on Ryan, but it is what it is. I mean, if you couldn't produce last year in Houston with Arian Foster, DeAndre Hopkins, and Andre Johnson, it's hard for me to believe that you're going to come to the Jets and make that big a difference.
Yeah, but in his defense, his numbers are actually pretty good with Houston. But I'm with you on your premise. If he's not a guy, he's marginally more than a guy, and that even seems like a little bit too a positive scouting report. It is what it is. I agree. I think Geno could have been pretty good. I don't think it's over this year. I think at some point Geno's going to play. But you have to wonder, is it over for RG3 in Washington? The rehabilitation project, it's his final turn here, and he's playing against Johnny Manziel and the Browns tonight. What do you expect from RG3 early on? Is he salvageable at this point?
I think absolutely. I just think his initial success has been his greatest detriment. And his initial success was based on the fact that Mike Shanahan tried to adapt the Redskins system to what they did at Baylor.
Mm-hmm.
So he was sort of in his comfort zone, whereas Jay Gruden is asking him to make a complete change and run a traditional pro-style system, and there's going to be an adjustment period. For him, that adjustment period happens to be in front of everybody, every game, every play. If I ask people, give me Ryan Tannehill's two worst games the last 2 years. No one can really tell me because no one's watching Ryan Tannehill like that. So he's gotten to develop kind of under the radar. If I ask
That's a good way of looking at it.
If I ask you what are RG3's worst 2 games, you can point to 6 of them because every game, everybody's tuned in and they're watching, and it's tough to develop like that.
Yeah, but sure, let me throw this at you. I didn't even really look at it in those terms, and Tiki and I both looked at each other's to acknowledge it's a pretty good point on your part, but couldn't somebody say it? They wanted to challenge you. Well, the reason why RG3 had the spotlight, I get it coming out of Baylor, but he had the spotlight in the NFL is because he played well early, and he earned the spotlight, whereas Tannehill was on a pedestrian Miami Dolphins team, and he didn't do a whole lot. RG3 was good from week one.
And the thing was, and I think I mentioned it, if I didn't, I'll repeat it, Shanahan adjusted the system to be very Baylor-like. If you go back and watch RG3 as a rookie, they're running the zone read.
Yeah.
It's true.
I mean, they're basically running Baylor's offense, and he had some success doing that. Then he got hurt. He came back. Wasn't the same player, that first year from an ACL, which a lot of guys go through. But with Jay runs a traditional West Coast offense where you're going to have to take 3, 5, and 7-step drops, throw the ball in rhythm from the pocket with accuracy. And if you've never done that, it's an adjustment period for every quarterback when you're changing into that kind of system.
Shaun King with us here on CBS Sports Radio, Tiki and Tierney Show. Shaun with Yahoo, of course, NFL analyst.
Shaun, obviously, the team that they're playing at RG3 is the Cleveland Browns, and we know their quarterback situation as well. What do you expect from Johnny Manziel? Because early returns are that he's playing pretty good. He's actually got his head on straight. The guys are, getting in his corner a little bit. What do we expect to see from him?
Well, you guys remember leading into the draft, I probably was one of the few people. Well, I'm not going to say a few people. I just keep it to what I said. I said that I thought he'd be a complete bust because I didn't think he loved the game of football.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, I root for all of these guys to be successful. So I'm very proud of Johnny because it looks like he's grown up. It looks like he understands the responsibility that being a quarterback in this league, comes with. And, because of that, maybe he has a fighting chance now. I don't think Cleveland's the best place for a young quarterback. They don't have a legitimate running game to lean on. It seems like the backs, that entire room came in out of shape, not really going to be available for the quarterback. Josh Gordon ain't going to be available. Jordan Cameron's not there. So I don't know that Cleveland has the weapons for any offensive, success, especially with a quarterback trying to learn. But I do think that Johnny's making steps and is headed in the right direction, and hopefully long-term this will be to his benefit and we can see some good football from him because he's exciting and he's good for the National Football League. He has a very passionate fan base, and if he does well, that brings more eyes to the game, and that's a good thing.
Hey, Shaun, every year we do this around this time. We anoint the team that we think is poised to take a nice jump forward, the hot team, the it team. A couple of years ago, it was the Rams, and they should be good this year. Last year, Miami. I thought Miami might get a wild card team. A lot of people, wild card spot. A lot of people agreed they should be good this year. It seems like the hot team this year is the Minnesota Vikings. And Tiki and I kicked this around before. Can they be a playoff team? We both think they can be. What's your early read on the Vikes, specifically Teddy B?
Well, I thought that Houston should have taken Teddy B #1 in that draft. I was what's the right word? I won't say a word because I won't use the wrong word here. I was pretty passionate that when you put the tape on, Teddy did everything at the college level on a consistently high basis that he was going to be asked to do at the NFL level. And you've seen that. His decision-making in game goes far beyond his years. His ability when they call aggressive plays, if they're not there to check the ball down and be disciplined, is something you don't see in a young quarterback. Tiki will tell you that. Normally, a young quarterback, if they call play action pass post, he's throwing that post.
Yeah.
I don't care if they got 22 people back there. And Teddy has an innate ability to not do that. And because of that, I think Minnesota has a chance to be successful. Having said all of that, guys, one thing I've learned in analyzing NFL is from year to year, you have no idea.
That's true. That is true. It's always a dicey proposition. Hey, Shaun, I know we'll be chatting quite a bit during the season. Appreciate a couple of minutes here. If you don't follow him on Twitter, if you don't read him or watch him, you should. He's good. Shaun, good spot, man. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Take care, Shaun.